All right, so the truth is I don't really need 3 minutes. I need 20 seconds. It's very simple. The Arab-Israeli conflict can be summed up very easily. If tomorrow the Hamas puts down their arms and weapons, there will be peace. If tomorrow Israel puts down the weapons, there will be bloodshed. That is the Arab-Israeli conflict. That's it. We want peace. We always wanted peace. We have lived in that region for 3,000 years since the time of King David. Do I need to continue? I mean, it's up to you. I think it's very simple. Let's talk about Palestine. All right, so Palestine is a place. It's been a place. It was called Palestine from before when the Romans came, right? It's called Palestine, but it's a place. It's a place where people live. There was Jewish Palestinians. You know, the Jerusalem Post, it was called the Palestinian Post prior to 1948. There's Jewish Palestinians, there's Christian Palestinians, there's Arab Palestinians. The Palestinians that you see today is something that actually came about in 1967, 2 decades after the State of Israel in 1948 was created. But if you think about who are the real Palestinians, let's think of Palestinian leaders who were born in Palestine. Who are Palestinian leaders who were born in Palestine? Yitzhak Rabin. He was born in Palestine. Ehud Olmert, he was born in Palestine. Ehud Barak, he was born in Palestine. There's so many Israeli leaders that have been born in Palestine. Let's talk about the biggest Palestinian leader, Yasser Arafat. Where was he born? He was born in Cairo, in Egypt, not in Palestine. He's not Palestinian. We are the Palestinians. We lived there before 1948. And not just before 1948, but 3,000 years back, which we date back. So the problem is that the Hamas charter makes it very clear. If you read the Hamas charter, it says it all. It's not about borders. It has nothing to do with borders. It has to do about our existence. They don't want us to live. That's it. It's the bottom line. They say it. If you read the Hamas charter, it says that they want to kill the Jews from the river to the sea, push all the Jews into the Mediterranean. And that's where the problem lies. That's why there's nobody to talk to on the other side. We gave every concession possible. We gave them a state, in essence. Gaza, right? We left Gaza, and what happened? They could have built, with the money, the billions of dollars that they got, they could have built another Dubai. But no, they built tunnels underground, and they built a terror state. That's the problem, and that's where we stand.
15 seconds.
That's it.
All right. We have 3 minutes. Go ahead.
You see, before 1947, the state of Israel was created by the United Nations, basically by the United States, British, and the French. You live together with the Palestinian in peace. It wasn't problem.
There was no Palestinians there.
No, there were Palestinians there. You live in peace there with the Palestinian. Jewish, Catholic, Arab, this is no problem. The problem started in England. You remember Ben Gurion? So England promised a state for the Jews in Argentina. In Argentina, they want to send you the British. So Ben Gurion, that was your leader at that time, Ben Gurion, said, no, we don't want a state in South America. We want a state in the Middle East. So the British, basically the British Empire, decide that they're gonna impose 2 states in there, in Palestine. And then they created, basically by force. They did it by force. So they created a 2 state, then brought out the war that you know, that was won not by Israel. The war was won by the United States, the British, and the French, that were the people behind the operation. It wasn't the Israel that won the war. It was the British, the American, and the French that did it. So you have to think twice today, because every day, everything gets sophisticated. That means, my friend, we can be like that. You see, that means that you gotta think twice, and you gotta go in the table and say we want 2 states. Because if you don't do that, every day the state of Israel will be in serious problem. You see, Iran got very sophisticated creating missiles, very sophisticated. That's why you got, in less than 2 weeks, 5,000 missiles to Israel. Israel live on tourists. That means if I'm a tourist in Tel Aviv, I don't come back to Israel in 100 years because I don't want to die. That's the problem. See, you gotta think twice now, and you gotta sit in the table. We have whatever represent the Palestinian and make peace, Otherwise, the existence of the Israel as a state will be in serious problem. No, my friend, you gotta come down to the table and.
Time. Wait, no, this is not fair. This is not fair.
Okay, it's very simple. You need to look at facts. You need to look at facts. The facts is that Palestine, as you know it, Palestinians, is something that only came about in 1967. Before then, there was no Palestinians. There was Arab refugees who lived there, all right? And then they actually left in 1948 because the Jordanians told them to leave, so they left. And during that time, the British mandate, as you brought up, not only Israel received its borders at that time, not only Israel, but every other country, the Iraq borders, the Iran borders, the Saudi borders, the Jordanians, the Syria, the Lebanon, they all received the borders back then. And if you look throughout history, you see that the fact is that Israel has always been the one homeland of the Jewish people. There's 27 Christian countries. There's 32 Muslim countries. There's one Jewish state, one. That's our only state in the world, and that's where we live. All right? So for refugees from 1967 that were displaced, you know how many refugees have been displaced? 200, 300 million. But refugees is not something that you have grandchildren, great-grandchildren, third, fourth, fifth generations. These Palestinians can live like human beings. They could live like Israelis in a sense if their government, if the Hamas takes their money and builds schools and builds hospitals and builds a structure for society instead of building terror. And that is the issue that we're dealing with. And no other country has to defend itself like Israel does. If there was 3,000 missiles raining down from Mexico, Mexico right now would be leveled. They wouldn't talk about Israel is the only army that with precisions because they don't want to hit civilians. Every rocket is 2 war crimes, 2. One, because they send it out of civilian population, they send it out of hospitals, of nurseries, of old age homes, of where children and heavy population is, and it's to target civilian population. And that's why we cannot sit down with terrorists who want to kill you. The minute they accept the existence of Israel, there's somebody to talk about, but we do not exist.
You have 2 minutes.
See, this is not a problem of Israel or Palestinian. It's the problem of creating 2 states that could live together in peace. See, if you start, we don't deal with Hamas, we don't deal with this, we don't deal with that, we don't deal with that. It's no negotiation. You gotta deal with your enemy. Hamas is the power in Palestine, and you gotta deal with Hamas. This is the power.
They want to kill us. They say it.
You see, my friend, hold a second. You see, you gotta deal with the real power in the Palestinian. The real power is Hamas. It's not the guy that you got there, Abba or whatever. It's Hamas, the power. So you gotta deal with the power. Hamas throw 5,000 missiles to Israel and stop the business all over Israel. So you gotta think twice. We want peace. We need to talk to Hamas. Look, guys, we're gonna talk this is your pie and this is my pie. If you throw one missile to this pie, we're gonna blow it out. Your nation. If you gotta talk clearly.
Can't talk to Hamas.
Yeah, you.
This is not a debate.
You see, you gotta talk always. You gotta talk with your enemy. If you want to talk with your friend, it's no problem. You gotta talk with the people that got the power. The power is Hamas. You gotta talk with them in order to reach an agreement. Otherwise, it's not gonna be peace. You see, right now, Israel stopped the war because Israel exhausted the missile. They didn't have any missile to throw. That's why they stopped the war. Hamas got like 20,000 missiles more. You see, you gotta talk with the people that have real power. It's Hamas. These are the people that you gotta talk and to reach an agreement. It's Hamas.
It's very simple. If the conflict was about borders, then we could sit down and talk, but that's not the conflict. If one side wants the other side dead, then who are you talking to? They don't want us to live. Do you understand that concept? You can't talk with somebody who doesn't want you to live. I don't want you to live. It's like sitting down in 1939 with Nazis, with Adolf Hitler, and saying, oh, we'll give you more land. The Jews will do this for you. It doesn't matter. They want you dead. It's very clear. They say it in the charter straight out. There's nothing to talk about. We have made every single concession 6 times, and every time we made a concession, gave back the Sinai Desert, gave back parts of the West Bank, gave back Gaza. One-sided. And what happened? We wanted peace, but what happened? War, terror, more terror. And the only way to deal with terror is to wipe it out, and that's what we're going to do.
You see, we go back to the main thing. You gotta talk to your real enemy. Your real enemy is Hamas. And Hamas got the power in Palestinian. So you gotta talk to them to reach an agreement. You see, you say that they want to get rid of a state of Israel. But the Palestinians say exactly the same about Israel. My friend, I know history more than you.
Just continue.
You see, this guy had never went to a school, so he's talking about. You see, you gotta talk with the real power. The real power are the Palestinians. So you gotta talk with them in order to reach an agreement. It's the Palestinians.
Time. Thank you so much.
No, 30 seconds. What? 30 seconds. 30 seconds. 30 seconds. 30 seconds. 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
Let it talk.
One last thing. Okay, one last thing. Okay, 30 seconds. 30 seconds. We are not at war. We are not at war with the Palestinian people. Who you know is at war with the Palestinian people? Hamas.